Baby, I will get you. This is my promise. She never asked for much. Not gifts. Not grand gestures. Not words she couldn't hold in her hands. But I saw it in the way she looked at certain things and then looked away. Like her heart wanted it. But her past had taught her not to ask. She'd smile when her favorite dress stayed in the shop window. Like it didn't matter. She'd scroll past the trip she once dreamed of. Like it was too far, too big. She'd laugh off the little things even when I could tell she wanted them. Not because they were expensive, but because they represented something she never had. Someone who chose her without hesitation. One night, we sat on the couch, her head on my shoulder, the room quiet except for the sound of the fan spinning above us. She sighed, and then she said, "I don't want to expect too much from life. It hurts less that way." Those words broke something in me, not because she was weak, but because she had learned to survive by asking for less, when she deserved so much more. So I turned to her, gently moved her hair from her face and said, "Baby, I will get you. This is my promise." She looked up, confused. "Get me what?" And I answered, "You. The version of you who stopped believing she was worth being fought for. The dreams you buried. The voice you silenced. The joy you paused. I will get her. For you. With you. No matter how long it takes." Her eyes filled instantly. Not with fear, but with disbelief. The kind that comes when someone finally speaks the words you stopped hoping to hear. "I don't need saving," she whispered. "I know," I said. "I'm not here to save you. I'm here to stand beside you while you remember who you are. That's the promise." And from that moment on, I did exactly that. Not with money, not with big talks, but with small things that added up. I bought the book she always looked at but never picked up. I booked the cooking class she mentioned in passing. I sat with her on hard days without trying to fix her. I stayed on quiet nights, on anxious mornings, on days she didn't feel lovable at all. Because loving her wasn't a task. It was a devotion. And every single time she doubted it, I'd remind her softly, firmly, "Baby, I will get you. This is still my promise." She didn't believe it all at once. Even after the promise. Even after the way I kept showing up without conditions, without pressure, without keeping score. Because when someone's been let down enough times, even love starts to feel like a setup. Even kindness feels like something that might be taken back. But slowly, something started to shift. It wasn't in the way she spoke. It was in the way she stayed. One morning, I woke up before her. The light was soft, stretching across her face like it wanted to keep her warm. And there she was, peaceful. Not guarded. Not curled up like she was bracing for the day. Just still. It hit me then. She was starting to feel safe. Later that day, I found her in the kitchen, staring at the fridge. She had a little note in her hand, one of those sticky ones I leave sometimes. This one just said, "You don't have to do anything special to be worth this love." She turned to me, holding it up like it was a question. "Do you mean this?" she asked. I nodded. Every word. She looked at it again, then placed it on the fridge next to an old recipe and a photo of us on a rainy day. She stood there for a second, like she was seeing herself in the space for the first time. Then she said it, quiet, almost unsure. "I think I'm starting to believe you meant it, that I don't have to earn this." I stepped behind her, wrapped my arms around her waist, and pressed my chin gently to her shoulder. "I didn't fall in love with what you do," I whispered. "I fell in love with who you are. Even the parts you thought you had to hide." She turned in my arms slowly, her eyes a little glassy but strong. "You're chasing someone I haven't even fully found yet," she said. I smiled. "I know, but she's in there. And I told you, I'll get her." She looked down for a second, then back at me. "Then I guess I should stop hiding from you." That moment, that was the breakthrough. Because it wasn't about some big, dramatic change. It was her letting the walls drop just a little, and letting me stand there beside her while they fell. It was her starting to believe that love didn't have to mean pretending, that she didn't have to become someone else to be held. And from that point on, she didn't walk with her head down anymore. She didn't over-explain herself. She didn't apologize for taking up space in rooms I already built for us. Because something in her had finally started to whisper back when the doubt showed up. You're not hard to love. You were just loving people who never stayed long enough to find you. And now, she knew I wasn't leaving. It happened on a random weekday afternoon. We were out running errands, nothing deep, nothing special. Just the usual routine. A stop at the market, a coffee pickup, a quick look at a small home shop she liked. But as we were walking back to the car, she froze. I turned to see what stopped her, and then I saw him. Someone from her past. Not someone who broke her heart loudly, but someone who made her feel small in 100 quiet ways. The kind of person who smiled while slowly unraveling her confidence. He didn't say anything at first, just nodded in that fake polite way, like he was being civil, like he thought he still held a little power just by showing up. I felt her hand tighten around mine. I didn't pull away. I didn't step in front of her. I just held on firm, steady, without words, because this wasn't my fight. This was her moment. He said her name like a test, waiting to see how she'd react. She didn't flinch. She just looked him in the eye, calm and clear, and said, "Hope you're well." Then she turned to me, gave me the softest, strongest smile and said, "Let's go." Just like that. She walked away. Not fast, not shaken, but steady. Like she wasn't afraid anymore. Like she didn't need to prove anything to anyone. Like she knew, deeply finally, that she was no longer that girl who used to shrink under someone else's voice. When we got back to the car, I didn't ask questions. But she looked at me and said, "You know what just hit me?" I waited. I wasn't afraid of him, not even for a second, because I knew I wasn't alone this time. Her voice didn't crack. Her eyes didn't water. She was clear. And I felt this overwhelming pride rise in my chest. Not because she handled it well, but because she handled it free. I leaned closer, took her hand again, and said, "This is why I promised. Baby, I will get you, piece by piece, layer by layer, until you never again doubt the power that's already in you." She looked at me for a long time. Then she whispered, "I think you already have." And right there, in that parking lot, in that small quiet car, I realized she wasn't being rescued anymore. She was being restored. Started with a knock on my door. Not loud, not rushed, just soft. Like she didn't want to surprise me, even though she had a key and didn't need to knock anymore. When I opened it, she was standing there holding a small bag in one hand, and something behind her back with the other. She looked nervous, like the words she wanted to say were sitting right on the edge of her tongue. I smiled, stepped aside. "Come in." She walked in slow, set the bag on the table, and turned to me with this almost shy look. Not unsure of me, just unsure of how to say what she was feeling. "I've been thinking," she said. I nodded. "About?" She reached behind her and pulled out a small box, wrapped in craft paper, tied with a black ribbon. Simple, beautiful. "I made you something," she said. That alone stopped me. She had never done that before. Not because she didn't care, but because for so long, love had always felt like a risk she couldn't afford to take. She'd been the one who gave too much in the past. And now she had been learning to receive. But this was her choosing to give again. I took the box carefully and opened it. Inside was a small photo frame, handcrafted with pieces of driftwood along the edges. And inside the frame was a picture of us. One I didn't even know she took. We were sitting on the couch. My head leaned back, her curled beside me. Both of us smiling at something off camera. Peaceful, natural, real. I looked up at her, heart full. "I wanted to give you something that reminded you," she said, voice soft, "that you're also being loved, not just giving it." I didn't know what to say. She kept going, her words slow but sure. "You're always pouring into me, holding me steady, keeping your promise. And I needed you to know. I see it. I feel it. And I'm not afraid to love you back anymore." I stepped forward, pulled her gently into my arms, and just held her there. No rush, no big speech. Just that still moment where everything between us felt like it had come full circle. "I told you," I whispered into her hair, Baby, I will get you. I meant every word. But what I didn't expect was this. I pulled back just enough to meet her eyes. You're getting me, too. In a way no one else ever has. She smiled, leaned her forehead against mine, and said, Good, because I plan to keep you. And in that moment, I realized something deeper. The promise I made to her? It gave her space to grow. But the love she was now giving back? That was the gift I never asked for, but somehow needed more than anything. The shift wasn't loud. It crept in quietly, like tiredness that doesn't go away, even after sleep. He'd been pushing himself hard, working late, carrying things he didn't talk about, and little by little the light in his eyes started to dim. He still smiled, still kissed her forehead, still said, I'm fine. But she knew. She felt it. One night he came home later than usual, dropped his keys on the table, pulled off his jacket, and sank into the couch like gravity had gotten heavier just for him. She sat beside him, didn't speak. He leaned forward, elbows on knees, hands clasped together like he was holding something in that silence he couldn't put into words. Finally, he whispered, I don't feel like I'm doing enough. She turned slowly. His voice was low, tired, full of the kind of pressure only a man who gives everything feels. I don't feel like I'm winning at anything right now. Work, life, us. I don't want to mess this up. You deserve someone who's sure. And lately, I'm not. She didn't flinch. She didn't rush in with solutions or brush it off with, You're just tired. She placed her hand on his back, gentle and grounding, and said, I see you. Even when you don't feel like you're shining, I still see you. He didn't move, didn't speak. So she kept going. You once looked me in the eye and said, Baby, I will get you. This is my promise. And now it's my turn. He turned his head slightly, eyes wet but unreadable. She took a breath, her voice stronger now. I will not let you forget who you are. Not on my watch. Not after everything you poured into me. Not after how many nights you stayed when I didn't even know how to stay for myself. He swallowed hard. I'm not going anywhere, she said. Even when you feel lost. Even when you doubt. Even when you think you're falling short. I will hold the truth for you until you can feel it again. He looked at her then. Not like she was saving him, but like she was anchoring him. I've got you, she whispered. And in that moment he realized, the promise he once made to love her through every fear and shadow, she had accepted it. And now she was keeping it for him. They sat in silence after that. No pressure. No rush to feel better. Just presence. Because sometimes the most powerful love isn't loud. It's steady. It's quiet words said on couches after long days. When everything feels heavy. And someone still reaches for your hand and says, You don't have to carry this alone anymore. I've got you now. This is my promise.